more on this, I'm joined in by my colleague Neha, who's continuously tracking the story for us. Neha, very good afternoon. In fact, in the past couple of weeks, we also saw the fact that the Lingayat community did stage those massive protests in Belagavi as well. Now, on one hand, the government did give in, but what are they raising objections for? Of course, they've been. Now, what are they demanding? Because what are they not satisfied with the fact that the Bombay government did, at some point meet them halfway in terms of reservation?
Yes, the Lingayat community had made it very clear during the time of the agitation that they aren't going to in fact settle for anything less than the two-way reservation, and that was quite evident on the streets of Belagavi when we saw their agitation during the time of the assembly session at Suvarna Sada. With that being said, now the Lingayat community has set a new deadline, and they have in fact gone on to sort of threaten the Bombay government by Jan 12th is when, if the reservation isn't done, then by 13th they are going to be staging a massive protest at Chief Minister Basuraj Bommai's Haveri residence. Now, with that being said, it isn't only about the Lingayat community over here. Of course, while the larger agitation, it does have to do with them, the fact that the government, in fact, would now have to explore legal options to be able to accommodate the reservation that they've promised the communities. We'll have to see how other communities are reacting or responding to this. Now, today, in fact, we also have the Brahmin community that's now come out and launched their objection to the government possibly going ahead to, the EWS quota, or the economically weaker sections quota, which is about 10%. The government, in fact, is currently mulling using a percentage or a portion of that quota for the Lingayat and the Vokkaliga communities. The Brahmin Mahasabha, in fact, has now come out and they've voiced their opposition to this and said that if at all the government decides to go ahead with this, then they would then be launching an agitation. So even as you have the top brass of the BJP, you have Mr. JP Nadda, you have Arun Singh as well, and you have also the Prime Minister who's set to visit the state in a few days. We have seen how the top brass of the BJP has been making a Lingayat outreach every time they visit the state. Now, with that, even today, as Arun Singh, in fact, and both JP Nadda as well are meeting senior Lingayat seers, the fact still remains that, this is, of course, quite a tangle over here for the Bommai-led government. We'll have to see legally as well, if at all there are any provisions. We did speak with the president of the Mahasabha over there who said that it would be unconstitutional for them to be giving away a portion of the EWS quota to these communities in order to accommodate their reservation. We'll, of course, have to see at this point, while it started with the Lingayat community demanding reservation and then also went on to the Vokkaliga community over there demanding reservation, it's now boiled down to, it is, of course, a game of numbers over here, and we'll really have to see how the government manages this. The Chief Minister there, Basuraj Bommai, coming out and saying that, this isn't something that can just be discussed on the roads, but all legal aspects of this would have to be taken into consideration, and that, he would, in fact, call for a meeting with the legal teams and then decide on finally how this reservation, of course, really would pan out in the state. But with that being said, in the election year in Karnataka, it seems like, the tone for the underlying elections, in fact, is being set on caste politics.
Absolutely, Neha. I appreciate you joining us on the broadcast and getting us all those latest details and reactions as well. Of course, we'll keep coming back to you, but we'll keep a close eye on that story. But for the moment, I appreciate you joining us. Let's also shift our focus to the fact that we have Dr. Narendra Rangappa, BJP spokesperson, as well as Bhavya Narasimhamurthy from the Congress spokesperson joining us on the broadcast. I appreciate the both of you joining us on Mirror Now. Very good afternoon. Let me come to Bhavya Narasimhamurthy first. In fact, the opposition believed if at some point in the Karnataka government was to be giving into this quota reservation, it would raise objections of other communities, and it seems like this is the litmus test for the Bommai government right ahead of the elections. How do you view that?
So, when all these communities started their request or demanding for these reservations, and Bommai government straight away came and promised that yes, we will bring it. It was just a mouth word that they just wanted to promise, and it was just a way of how BJP usually works. But actually, that was against Indra Sawhney case, the judgment that Supreme Court gave. So what Congress party did was, we said, why don't you talk to the central government, where again your party is in power, ask them to add this to the 9th schedule so that it won't be a violation of Supreme Court order. But then now what they are doing is they took a portion of EWS and now both Brahmin community and the Lingayat community both are like unhappy. And on the other hand, Vokaliga community is also demanding for extra reservation. Because even Vokaliga population, it's not, the reservation is not proportional to their population. Definitely the current BJP government is in a fix because they can do it if they at least approach the central government, take a delegation from here, an all-party delegation, talk to the Prime Minister, explain the situation, and do something about it, because social justice reservation is an affirmative action for social justice, for promoting social justice, and it's important to consider every community's request and demands. And sadly, the current BJP government has failed to keep up the trust of all these communities. And if you see, the seers have come out and they said they will be giving only 24 hours gap, and then there'll be a huge protest and all this. Even now, the Congress party would request them to take an all-party delegation to the Prime Minister. They were the one who said, double engine sarkar, and that will be the best for Karnataka. But if you see, starting from scams to all these protests, BJP has only proved to be a disaster for the Karnataka state.
So you believe at some point they were obviously trying to meet the demands of the Lingayat community but have failed to do so. So let me take that same point across to Dr. Rangappa, who's also joining us. Mr. Rangappa, how do you view this? Because this is, of course, a litmus test right ahead of the elections. In fact, like my colleague Neha was also pointing out, the top brass of the BJP, over the past couple of weeks have made that call out for the Lingayat community. But this is one of the other aspects of it, is that other communities in Karnataka would have got upset about it, and that's exactly what has happened. So how is the BJP planning to, really resolve this issue now?
See, BJP has taken a proactive stand to solve a problem that has been existing for a very long duration. Whereas unlike Congress, which has been sleeping over it, and now they have become proactive in making fun of the or taking entertainment from the situation rather than saving and giving a proper solution to the problem. But BJP is very capable of solving the problem, and we are in consultation. They have not outrightly refused. They have given us time, and Mr. Basuraj Bommai is capable of bringing about a consensus within the spirit of constitution, framework of law. We are definitely going to satisfy everybody. I don't think the Congress need to be overjoyed with the situation.
All right, Dr. Rangappa, I'm afraid I'll have to interject you over there. But on one hand, you believe that the Bommai government will be able to manage this. I'm afraid we're running out of time, which is why I'd have to interrupt both of you. But appreciate you joining us on the broadcast.